Ladies and gentlemen, there is a kind of wisdom that speaks loudly, and there is a kind that chooses silence. An intelligent person does not say everything they know, nor do they believe that truth alone is enough. Truth must be paired with grace, timing, and love. An intelligent person understands that words have power beyond mere sound. They shape realities, mend or break spirits, and guide destinies. The wise do not merely speak to be heard. They speak to bring light, to uplift, to lead hearts toward truth without crushing them under its weight. There is a difference between knowing something and knowing when and how to say it. The first is intelligence, the second is wisdom. Words are not neutral, they either build or destroy, bless or curse. A thoughtless word can be like a spark that sets a whole forest ablaze, while a word spoken in season can be like cool water to a weary soul. In the Bible, we are said that life and death are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. This means that what we speak and how we speak it will come back to us in one form or another. If we sow harshness, we will reap distance. If we sow wisdom, we will reap understanding. A person of understanding does not say everything that comes to mind. Not because they are deceitful, but because they recognize that truth, when spoken without love, can wound rather than heal. This is especially true when speaking to someone whose heart is tender, whose soul is shaped more by feeling than by logic. A sculptor does not strike the marble with brute force. Nor does a gardener rip open the soil to make a plant grow faster. They apply just the right amount of pressure, the right touch at the right time. So must words be measured, delivered with both precision and kindness. Consider the way Christ himself spoke to people. He did not treat every listener the same, though he was the embodiment of truth. To the broken he spoke gently, to the arrogant he challenged. To those lost in despair he spoke hope. In the Bible we are said that a gentle answer turns away wrath, but harsh words stir up anger. This is the way of wisdom, to discern not just what to say, but how to say it. The intelligent person understands this deeply, especially in relationships where emotions run deep. A woman, like any soul, is shaped by what she hears. If her mind is constantly filled with reminders of what she lacks, what she does wrong, or what she should be, she will wither. But if she hears words that strengthen her, that acknowledge her worth, she will flourish. It is not flattery but wisdom to choose words that give life. There is a time for correction, but even correction must be given with care. It is a fool who blurts out truth without thought for its impact. In the Bible we are said that the wise store up knowledge, but the mouth of the fool invites ruin. Storing up knowledge means knowing when to speak and when to be silent. And sometimes silence speaks louder than words ever could. There are things in life that cannot be measured, calculated, or fully understood by reason alone. The heart is one of them. It is not a puzzle to be solved, but a mystery to be cherished. And an intelligent person knows that not everything needs to be spoken. Some things are best left unsaid, not because they are untrue, but because the heart moves by a different logic, one that values love over mere knowledge. A person may believe that complete honesty means saying everything that comes to mind, but wisdom knows better. Words are not just statements of fact. They are carriers of meaning, emotion, and intent. A truth spoken at the wrong time, in the wrong way, can wound more deeply than a lie. In the Bible we are said that there is a time to speak and a time to be silent. The difference between wisdom and folly is knowing which time it is. A woman's heart, like any heart, is not made of stone. It is tender, shaped by what it receives. It holds on to words long after they are spoken, turning them over, finding meaning in them even where none was intended. The intelligent person understands this and does not speak carelessly. A word of criticism, even if true, may take root like a thorn, while a word of encouragement can bloom like a flower. This is why love is not just in what is said, but also in what is left unsaid. Christ himself demonstrated this wisdom in the way he spoke to those around him. He did not always give direct answers, nor did he reveal everything at once. He understood that the heart must be led gently, that some truths are too heavy to bear all at once. In the Bible, we are said that he spoke in parables, revealing truth in ways that could be grasped slowly, over time. This was not to conceal, but to guide, allowing the heart to receive only as much as it was ready for. An intelligent person does the same in their relationships. There are burdens that should not be placed on another, no matter how true they may be. Some truths, when spoken, do not bring clarity but confusion, not peace but sorrow. There are moments when silence is an act of love, when withholding a thought is not deception but care. The heart understands more than words can express, and sometimes the deepest love is shown not in what is spoken, but in the patience to let understanding grow on its own. Wisdom discerns the weight of words and the mystery of the heart. It knows that not every truth needs to be spoken, and that love often moves in the quiet spaces between words. In the Bible, we are said that a prudent person keeps knowledge to themselves, but the heart of a fool blurts out folly. To know when to speak and when to be silent is not just intelligence, it is the mark of a heart that understands the sacredness of love. Words are never empty. They carry weight, shaping the hearts of those who receive them. A careless word may be forgotten by the one who speaks it, but it can linger for a lifetime in the soul of the one who hears it. The intelligent person understands this and does not speak lightly. They know that words once spoken cannot be taken back, and the impact they leave is often greater than what was intended. A gentle word can calm an anxious heart, but a harsh one can stir up anger that lasts far beyond the moment. In the Bible we are said that the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. This means that the words we choose will either build or destroy, and the consequences of speech are not easily undone. A wise person does not speak merely to be heard. They speak with purpose, weighing their words before releasing them into the world. The heart is fragile, easily wounded by words spoken in haste or frustration. Some people believe that truth must always be spoken bluntly, without consideration for the one receiving it, but wisdom teaches otherwise. Truth, if not tempered with kindness, can be more destructive than a lie. In the Bible we are said that reckless words pierce like a sword, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. A word spoken without thought can cut deep, leaving wounds that take years to heal. But a word spoken with wisdom can restore, bringing comfort and strength even in the hardest moments. Christ himself, though he carried all truth, never used it as a weapon to harm. He corrected, but he also comforted. He rebuked, but he did so in love. To the weary he spoke peace, to the broken he gave hope. He knew when to speak and when to remain silent, understanding that words hold great power. In the Bible, we are said that a person finds joy in giving an apt reply. And how good is a timely word! It is not enough to know what to say. It must also be said in the right way, at the right time. There are things better left unspoken, not because they are untrue, but because they serve no purpose other than to burden another soul. An intelligent person discerns which words will build and which will break. They do not speak to win arguments, but to bring understanding. They do not use words as weapons, but as tools for grace. In the Bible, we are said that the mouth of the righteous is a fountain of life, but violence overwhelms the mouth of the wicked. Words should not be used carelessly, for they have the power to uplift or to crush. Wisdom is found in restraint, in knowing that the right word at the right time can do more than 1,000 spoken without thought. An intelligent person understands that a woman's heart and mind are not simple things to be analyzed and explained away. They are deep, layered, and woven with complexities that reflect the very nature of life itself. To treat a woman's thoughts as trivial, to assume that her emotions are without reason, or to speak to her as though she does not possess wisdom of her own, is not intelligence, but folly. True wisdom acknowledges that understanding another person, especially one whose soul moves with a rhythm different from one's own, requires patience, humility, and reverence. Words have the power to shape how a person sees themselves. A woman who constantly hears words that diminish her will begin to doubt her own voice. A woman who is met with condescension will either retreat into silence or feel the need to defend herself in ways that create distance rather than understanding. In the Bible, we are said that a wise man listens to counsel, and this applies not only to teachers and scholars, but to every voice that carries wisdom, including the voice of a woman. To disregard her thoughts is to close the door to wisdom that God Himself has placed in her. There is a tendency in the world to see logic as superior to emotion, as though reason alone is the measure of intelligence. But the heart carries a wisdom of its own, one that does not rely solely on facts, but on understanding, on seeing what is beyond words and grasping the unseen. A woman's intuition, her ability to perceive what is not spoken, is not weakness, but a strength given by God. In the Bible, we are said that wisdom is more precious than rubies, and nothing we desire can compare with it. That wisdom is not confined to one way of thinking. It is vast, moving through intellect and emotion alike. Christ Himself honored the wisdom of women. He listened to them, spoke with them, and revealed truths to them that even His closest followers struggled to understand. He did not dismiss their thoughts, but engaged them in conversation, knowing that the mind and heart together form the fullness of a person. In the Bible, we are said that understanding is a wellspring of life to those who have it, and to understand is to listen, to seek depth beyond the surface. An intelligent person does not seek to prove superiority in knowledge, but to grow in wisdom. They do not dismiss what they do not immediately understand, but take time to listen, to consider, to learn. They recognize that respecting the feminine mind is not about agreement in all things, but about valuing the perspective, insight, and discernment that come from a soul uniquely fashioned by God. In the Bible, we are said that a person of understanding delights in wisdom, and wisdom is found not in speaking much, but in listening well. Not all truths need to be spoken at all times. There is a difference between knowing what is true and knowing when and how to say it. The wise do not use truth as a hammer to break down others, but as a light to guide them. A word spoken in haste, even if it is right, can wound rather than heal. Truth must be delivered with grace, for without grace, even the purest truth can become a burden too heavy to bear. An intelligent person understands that timing and tone matter just as much as the words themselves. There are moments when truth is needed, but it must be given in a way that strengthens rather than weakens. In the Bible, we are said that a gentle tongue is a tree of life, but a harsh word crushes the spirit. It is not enough to be correct. One must also be kind. The heart is not always ready to receive what the mind knows. And wisdom teaches patience in revealing what must be understood. Christ himself never separated truth from love. He spoke with authority, yet his words carried compassion. When faced with those who were lost, he did not simply expose their faults, he led them toward grace. To the woman caught in sin, he did not offer condemnation, but redemption. To the broken-hearted, he gave comfort before instruction. In the Bible, we are said that mercy triumphs over judgment. This is not because judgment is untrue, but because mercy allows the truth to be received without destruction. There are truths that, if spoken without care, can do more harm than good. A woman does not need to be reminded of her weaknesses at every turn. She carries enough battles within her own heart. A word of encouragement will achieve more than a list of corrections. This does not mean ignoring truth, but speaking it in such a way that it lifts rather than crushes. In the Bible, we are said that words fitly spoken are like apples of gold in settings of silver. A well-timed word can bring healing, while a careless truth can cause harm that was never intended. A person who values wisdom does not simply speak because they have something to say. They speak because they have something worth saying, and they choose the right moment to say it. Truth without grace can become a weapon, but truth with grace is a gift. The way a truth is spoken can determine whether it brings peace or division. In the Bible, we are said that love covers a multitude of sins. This does not mean hiding what is right, but ensuring that what is right is always wrapped in love. The purpose of truth is not to tear down, but to build up. Not to shame, but to guide. Not to burden, but to set free. Wisdom discerns this and speaks in a way that allows truth to do its intended work. God, in his infinite wisdom, does not reveal everything to us at once. He knows what our hearts can bear, what our minds can grasp, and what we need to know in each season of our lives. His silence is never neglect, and his withholding is never cruelty. Rather, it is the loving restraint of a Father who understands that knowledge without preparation can overwhelm rather than enlighten. In the Bible, we are said that there is a time for everything, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to speak and a time to be silent. This is the rhythm of divine wisdom, truth given in its proper time, knowledge revealed when it is most beneficial, never before. Never. An intelligent person learns from this example. They understand that just because something is true does not mean it must be spoken immediately. Wisdom knows that some things, if revealed too soon, will not bring clarity but confusion. A gardener does not force a seed to sprout before its time, nor does a builder place weight upon a foundation that has not yet set. Truth, like anything of great value, must be given at the right moment, when it can be received with understanding and not resistance. In the Bible, we are said that the heart of the wise makes their speech judicious and adds persuasiveness to their lips. To be wise is not simply to know, but to discern when and how to share what is known, and to There are moments when silence is more loving than speech, when restraint is an act of kindness rather than concealment. God Himself, though He knows all things, does not burden us with more than we can bear. He reveals Himself in layers, allowing us to grow into understanding rather than drowning us in it. In the Bible, we are said that His word is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. A lamp does not illuminate the whole journey at once. It gives just enough light for the next step. This is the way of divine wisdom. To lead gently, to speak when the time is right, to allow truth to unfold rather than forcing it upon the unprepared heart. An intelligent person does the same in their relationships. They do not mistake withholding for deception, nor do they believe that silence is always a sign of weakness. Instead, they follow the example of God, knowing that love is not in the abundance of words, but in the careful giving of truth when it is needed most. In the Bible, we are said that the wise in heart are called discerning, and gracious words promote instruction. Knowledge is not meant to be used as a burden, but as a gift, and a gift is only truly valuable when given in the right way at the right time. To walk in wisdom is to walk in step with the divine, speaking not merely for the sake of speaking, but for the sake of love. Wisdom is not merely found in knowing the truth, but in understanding how, when, and if it should be spoken. Words carry weight, shaping hearts and leaving lasting impressions. An intelligent person does not speak carelessly, but discerns the impact of their words, ensuring they bring life rather than harm. Just as God reveals truth in His perfect timing, so must we exercise restraint, speaking with grace and love. A word spoken at the right time can heal, strengthen, and uplift, while a word spoken without thought can wound deeply. In the Bible, we are said that the wise store up knowledge, but fools blurt out folly. The true mark of wisdom is not in the abundance of words, but in their careful and purposeful use. To walk in understanding is to walk in love, choosing words that reflect not just knowledge, but also the kindness and wisdom of God.